All right, and what is going on, folks? Welcome to the Week 6 Fantasy Football Ranking Show brought to you by Across the Plane. My name is Will. You can find me on Instagram at mpls_outdoors. And we also do a full-length podcast on Spotify. That is on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you get your podcasts. That's at Across the Plane. And that's also like the socials on Instagram and Twitter. So check that out. And below me is...
Jake the Rookie, and that's THA, like the podcast Across the Plane, THA, and wrong hand. And yeah, we're here to talk fantasy football today, like we have been past couple weeks, and are going to continue doing for the rest of the season. So let's get it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into the ranking show, obviously, we had a game on Tuesday, so no Thursday night football. This morning, this is the recording, this is Thursday morning, obviously, four Falcons personnel / players tested positive, so definitely keep an eye out if you have Titans or Vikings, or not Titans, I keep on saying Titans, Falcons or Vikings players, potentially could get pushed back. Yeah, I bet that game gets pushed back, but definitely keep an eye out that, and as we've said every week, have a backup plan for literally no matter what. We hope you got a win last week. Tough week for buys, tough week for injuries. Obviously, Dak Prescott went down. He'll be down for the season, which is a really big bummer for those Cowboys. We got a lot of big-name fantasy players out on bye with the Chargers, Raiders, Saints, and Seahawks out. And some injuries, too. Some questionables. Obviously, we got some big names listed below. Julio Jones. Julio Jones, definitely his status could be in question. He did not practice on Wednesday. So it actually could play in favor if the game does get pushed back. Maybe even Monday or Tuesday. I mean, I definitely would give him a lot higher chance to play on a Tuesday. But he's still a hamstring injury, nagging hamstring injury. So just keep an eye on that. See if he practice. I mean, I don't think they'll be able to practice. But
yeah, he's obviously really good. So, and you drafted him probably second round, and you want to play him, and you want to see a big game, and it could be a big game against the Vikings if they do end up playing this week, and if he does end up playing, but also we could see I'm worried about the hamstring, and I'm worried about him throughout the rest of the season.
And as you'll see,
so if you trade him,
as you'll see, our rankings do reflect that. Also, Chris Godwin did practice on Wednesday. Looks like he might be able to suit up. DJ Chark did not, so that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Again, probably a player you're going to play if he does suit up, but keep an eye if he practices. Friday's the big one. If players don't practice on Friday, that's a really, really bad sign. So keep an eye on that. Deontay Johnson is expected to play. He could be a high upside flex play. Again, injuries to monitor. Friday is a big day. And then Noah Fant, he did practice on Wednesday, but again, still sounds like that injury is still nagging. So, but again, rankings reflect all of that. So let's get right into it. We'll start things out and we'll get right into our QB ranks. And there it is, folks. Number one, obviously, is going to probably be top 2 or 3 every single week, and that's Patrick Mahomes. They play at Buffalo. It's kind of weird. We have a Monday game at 4 p.m. Central Time. It's a little strange, but I expect that to be a very high-scoring game.
Yeah, it was postponed, and they got to fit them in when they can, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I believe this was supposed to be the Thursday night football game originally.
Yes, it was, but Buffalo played Tuesday, so they let them get some rest time.
Yeah.
Very fair. And, I expect this one to be a shootout.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high scoring. Obviously, Josh Allen didn't perform too well on Tuesday, but that's a much more formidable defense over there in Tennessee. Chiefs just got 40 put on their head by the Raiders, so I definitely think you can expect a bounce-back game for Josh Allen, and that's why the rankings have him reflected at number 2 there. And keep in mind, these rankings are going down the side on the right, the far right, that's the aggregate total. We'll leave the link below. Raheem Mostert or Ronald Jones PPR. Raheem Mostert. Yeah. We're gonna go through the Jonathan. Appreciate you stopping in. We're gonna flip through the rankings in a little bit. We'll get to the running back rankings, so stick around for that. We'll go through all of them. But yeah, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. We expect that to be a shootout. Same with Kyler Murray in Dallas. That should be a high-scoring game. Andy Dalton, we have him ranked low. He could end up being a streamable quarterback going forward against bad defenses. I think we have to wait and see. For me, he went 9 for 11 when he came in and he looked great to me, and he has great weapons. And going forward, if he plays a good game against Arizona, he definitely could be a streamable quarterback against bad defenses.
Yeah, especially if he's going to be throwing the ball because they can't seem to stop anybody on defense. And I have him ranked 20. I think he's I'm going to wait another week. I'm going to give him a start and see how he does against Arizona.
Yeah, I think he could have some high upside, but again, it's risky, and there's a much safer place at quarterback this week. Yeah. Other quarterbacks we got pretty high. Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're both really high on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he scored 20-plus points now in 4 weeks in a row. This is a great matchup against the Jets. I mean, they're playing the Jets. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, they're playing the Jets. I think it's going to be a decent game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can expect another probably 20 points again.
Yeah, that's why he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
20-point Fitzpatrick for the last 4 weeks.
And
I think we see it again.
yeah, I'm pretty high on Cam Newton. I think it's a great matchup at home against Denver. I think he's a really high upside play. They're going to be running a lot of rushing plays for him. So, again, if you got him, throw him out there, and I think you can expect a really big game from him. He has a huge upside with that rushing, with all those rushing plays. I mean, they're running legit rushing plays for him.
Yeah, that's what he came to do.
Yeah. Let's see. What else we want to talk about? Let's Ryan Tannehill. I think I'm pretty high on him. I have him ranked at number 9. I believe Jake has him a little bit lower, which makes him fall right at 11. So he makes him a start. But again, I'm really high on Ryan Tannehill. He's played great in all but one game this year.
Guess the Kings.
Yeah, and he played good. It's just Derrick Henry kind of ended up getting those touchdowns. But he played pretty decent.
I think that's just what's going to happen this week. And if you, check the running back rankings, you'll see why. I have Tannehill. I like him as a streaming start, especially if you were one of the guys who had Dak go down. Tannehill might be on the waivers, and you can maybe go grab him.
Let's see what percentages. I'll go. I'll check. I'll look up on what percentage Ryan Tannehill is on in NFL leagues. But yeah, I think Houston is not that good at defense, and again, I think you can expect a lot out of Ryan Tannehill. He played great against Buffalo. He's getting his offensive weapons back. AJ Brown played great. His team's getting healthy. They've got a great offensive line. I think he has really high upside, and again, he has rushing upside too. He looks good when he rushes. He's smart about when he rushes too.
Yeah. Another guy I'm high on and Will's a little bit lower on is Jared Goff. I've seen Jared Goff on the road this year, and I think he's putting up 20 points again. And it's just something to do with Jared Goff on the road.
Yeah.
He's productive.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like Jared Goff this week. I think it's a good matchup. I think San Francisco, I guess I can't really say they just got 40 put on their head. Their defense is spotty, but I don't know. I just think matchups ahead. I mean, you looking at what Ryan Tannehill's done this season. I think he's just he does have a little bit more upside, and especially because he's getting his offensive weapons back. But again, it's really close. Again, the aggregate total has them 1 apart, so they're super close. Chances are you probably don't have both of them. Just checking. I just looked. Ryan Tannehill is rostered in only 55% of leagues, and he's averaging 22 points a game. And
if you had Prescott, I would go grab him.
Yeah, if you have, honestly, if you don't have, I would say if you don't have one of those top 5 guys, I'd go have a second quarterback, and Ryan Tannehill would be them. Pretty much below the top 5 or 6 with Russell Wilson on by. So I'll say 6. The top 6 are pretty much locks every week, but other than that, man, they're pretty interchangeable based on matchups. 7 through 13 is going to change a lot based on matchups. We have Ryan Fitzpatrick all the way at 7, and on a flipped week, that could very well be changed. Joe Burrow has a tough matchup. He's good on good matchups. He can creep up there. This is a tough week.
Yeah, and I'd like to say I think Lamar Jackson owners, you might be disappointed so far, and we might be asking questions. Is this defense going to be so good that they tell Lamar Jackson he can't run the ball because the defense is just, they don't need him to score and they don't need him to risk running the ball. And you know what? It could be true, and we're going to have to see against Philadelphia. If they just dominate Philadelphia again defensively and Lamar Jackson just doesn't put up any rushing yards, it might just he might slip in the rankings as well for me.
He's got some tough matchups coming up. He plays Philly next
Tough.
week, and then he plays the bye, and then he has a bye, and then he plays Pittsburgh, and then he plays the Colts, and then he plays New England, and then Tennessee, and then Pittsburgh again. So, he may end up on the trade list if he doesn't have a good week this week, or even if he does, maybe.
Yeah, well, and it might be hard to get people to buy. You might have to sell low on him than what you drafted.
But stay tuned for the Week 7 preview. He could end up on there. But yeah, Lamar Jackson again. I think is still a great play at Philly. You've got to play him. It's just again he's had two weeks under 15 points, which is a little worrisome for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 3 of the weeks he's had under 20, and that's not where you drafted him. I could potentially look to trade him if I was the owner for him, but I can again. He's ranked 4th. I think you expect a big game from him. But yeah,
I hope so. It's really he needs those rushing attempts. Like that's really what boosts him to the next level for fantasy production.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only been 1 week where he's had double-digit rushing attempts, and last week he only had 2.
Yeah.
2 carries for 3 yards, which you need more from Lamar Jackson to have a good game in fantasy.
Yeah, or at least 2 more passing touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. Another player, we had Kirk Cousins actually on our streamer list. I think he could end up outperforming his ranking. Potentially, it could be a running game, but obviously Dalvin Cook looks like he's going to be out. But Kirk Cousins could be a decent play. Again, obviously, there's definitely situations, if you're in a deeper league, a 10 or a 12, 14, 16 team league where you might be looking at playing a Kirk Cousins, or 12-man league. Some couple teams have 2 guys ahead of them. I don't think Kirk Cousins is a bad play this week.
No, I don't. I wouldn't mind that play either. It has a good upside. It's against Atlanta, who's 32nd against scoring against the quarterback for fantasy football. So
and again, we have Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan ranked 14 and 16 respectively. So yeah, I think we both can agree that if you have Matt Ryan, I'd much rather throw out Kirk Cousins this week.
Yeah, even with Minnesota lacking in the secondary, that pass rush and Matt Ryan's just been looking sloppy the last couple weeks. I'd rather have Kirk Cousins too.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do we have here? We'll cover Gardner Minshew and Matt Stafford. We're pretty high on those guys. We think that's going to be a high-scoring game. Both those teams, not the best defenses, and I think we can expect to see some touchdowns out of both those guys. Potentially 3 touchdowns out of each of them.
Yeah, maybe.
What else? Joe Burrow is we have him ranked pretty low. He could have a tough game. I think the players right now that I'm saying are most likely to outperform their current ranking are like Andy Dalton, a Kirk Cousins, probably. Those would be my...
Yeah. Andy Dalton could definitely do better he could be top 16.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he could. I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Dalton scores over 20 points this week, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he scores under 16 points this week. So it's just a wait and see. Again, he looked good for a portion of the game after Dak went out, so he's definitely a better backup than a lot of teams have. But again,
oh, absolutely.
We just haven't seen, and again, I think we can all agree.
I've seen him start though, so that's one thing you can say over a lot of teams' backups.
Yeah, we have seen him start. And
multiple seasons.
Yeah, again, I do think though a lot of us can agree that this is probably the best situation he's probably started in though. I mean, he's Marvin Jones. He had a couple good seasons of AJ Green where they actually did pretty decent. But then other than that, yeah, they just haven't had a great team, and he hasn't played too well. So keep an eye on that. Again, like we said, could end up being a streaming quarterback going forward. So, is there anything else you want to cover, Jake, for as far as running backs or quarterbacks go before we get to the running backs?
No, I think let's go to the running backs.
All right, let's get right to it. We'll do the top 40 running backs, and there we go. Ezekiel Elliott, number 1, consensus. We got a consensus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, I actually was a little high. I had Mike Davis at 6, but we had consensus top 5 actually, which is pretty impressive. Zeke and Derrick Henry just have such great matchups.
Yeah, I agree. That's just is what it is.
I think you can expect a pretty similar.
And they're your number 1 pick. So
yeah, you can expect a pretty similar performance from Derrick Henry and the Titans, I think. And Ezekiel Elliott's obviously a lock. Aaron Jones and Kareem Hunt both have tough matchups, but they're both involved enough in the passing game, and they're both just such a big part of the offense where obviously you're going to start them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's obviously only had the 1 touchdown on the year, and owners are definitely wanting more. And honestly, if I'm a Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner, I'm going to be worried, especially if the Chiefs sign Le'Veon Bell. Man, I'm going to be super worried. I'm going to be trying to he'll definitely find himself on my trading away list next week.
Yeah, I think Le'Veon Bell is going to end up in Buffalo now. That's the new thing I've been hearing.
Yeah, obviously. We'll see. That's a big one.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Even if you're a Le'Veon Bell owner, no matter where he ends up this week, I'm still going to wait a week on him. I'm not starting him no matter what.
Yeah. No.
You've been doing without him this far, and I don't think he'll help your team for week 6.
And he's not on a team yet, so we couldn't put him in the rankings.
Yeah, we couldn't.
So.
I think he does find himself on a team.
Oh yeah.
By the end of today or tomorrow.
That would be fun. I hope so. I think beginning of next week could be.
And Le'Veon Bell owners sure hope so too.
I bet they do.
Yeah. So let's see. Dalvin Cook was a big injury. It looks like Mike Zimmer said he looks good, but reports are coming out saying it looks like he's not going to play. So. I just don't see why we would play. I mean, we're going into the bye. We're playing the Falcons. I don't think we do it. I think that's more of a coaching play, just to kind of attempt to throw off the Falcons. I don't think we see him. So we have Alexander Mattison ranked 11th. And I think we could definitely see him outperform that. He could definitely have a top 6 week, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Vikings are going to run the ball in the second half, especially with the lead. Or that's what I'm hoping for as a Vikings fan. And, I see him getting work like Dalvin got.
I mean, even last week with Dalvin getting, I believe Dalvin had 17 touches. He got 22 touches. He had 22 touches, I believe. He'll get some passing work, and he'll definitely get the rushing volume. So I'm super high on him. I think he can definitely outperform that. But again, some great matchups this week. James Robinson has a great matchup. He'll be involved a lot in the passing game, I believe, and he'll definitely be getting a bunch of touches. You can expect, I think, at least 5-6 targets for him. Really high upside this week for James Robinson.
Yeah, I agree. I got him at 5, I think. So, yeah, he's looking nice.
Let's see, going down the list.
That's 6. Okay.
Yep.
No, I got him at 5.
Yeah, I think Joe Mixon and Miles Sanders are players you could probably temper expectations for. We got them ranked pretty high, but they just have tough matchups this week.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe Mixon always has upside, though, so he's always going to be a top 14 play. So he's going to be an RB1 in a 14-man league, probably.
Yeah, actually, he might find himself slipping, I feel. It's a big week for buys. I mean, there's a lot of running backs on buys. Sure. Alvin Kamara, Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs. Those players are all top 10 running backs every week.
Joe Mixon's probably going to make your lineup, though.
In a tough matchup like this, you're not going to sit Joe Mixon.
Or unless you're in one of those 8-man leagues,
Yeah.
but then go get you some friends.
Yeah, you're not going to sit Joe Mixon, but again, I say temper expectations. Todd Gurley's been playing great. He's been playing absolutely phenomenal. He had his best game of the year. Look actually really good running the football against Carolina. Obviously, Carolina has a poor rushing defense, but he has some really favorable matchups. He played Green Bay, then Carolina, then Minnesota. He plays Carolina again, and he has great matchups. So I think if you're a Todd Gurley owner, you might want to hang on to him, wait for he has a good week or two more, and then he might end up being on a trade. I think his trade value might be really high in a week or two.
We'll see if he continues to produce. Minnesota will. You're higher on him than I am. He's aggregate 14.
Yeah.
I would play a Joe Mixon over him or a David Montgomery.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I disagree. I just think his touchdown upside is too high. Minnesota's looked really porous, and they're going to be focusing a lot on all those passing weapons, and I think that'll allow a lot of them. And not to mention, Todd Gurley had a season high. He had a season high 4 catches last week, which was really good to see. So I think they kind of made a point. Dan Quinn got fired. I think they'll make a point to get Todd Gurley more involved in the passing game. And yeah, I mean,
we'll see. It's a defense head coach.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns through 5 games this week, and had 121 yards last week.
A 30-yard run last week. I didn't think he got it in.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the full highlights. He had 14 for 121. So even on all the other runs, he looked really good. I went back and watched those highlights. He looked really good running the ball. So yeah, I'm pretty high on. I would start. I think Joe Mixon at Indianapolis. Joe Mixon has a really low. He has a low floor. I don't know if he has the same. Todd Gurley, I think, is a safer play. But, yeah, Joe Mixon's got a really tough matchup.
I think he has upside. I think he can bust out big plays because they're going to just be, like, it'll be the check down. Joe Burrow's going to feel the pressure.
Yeah, Joe Burrow had a tough matchup last week. A tough game last week against...
Now he's got another tough defensive line to deal with, and... good luck.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore is the number 6 rushing defense. Indianapolis is the number 3 last week. Joe Mixon only rushed for 2.5 yards per carry, so he did have 6 catches, though. So he is involved in the passing game, but again, like I said, I do think they make a point because Todd Gurley did thrive, and that was kind of something that was lacking. So they're all kind of right in that high-end RB1 or high-end RB2, low-end RB1 play. So going down the line, Myles Gaskin, we have him aggregate 17, which makes him our 16th ranked running back. I think he has a lot of upside, actually.
I think he could have volume, especially if they get out on a lead early. Second half volume, you can see. He definitely has upside.
Yeah.
Over Breida and Howard, so.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely expect. I'm
gonna have 8 of them.
Yeah, I think he's a player that I would say could probably outperform where he's ranked currently. He had 16 carries last week, and he's been involved in the passing game. He's had at least 4 targets every single week this year. He's had 5 catches last week, and they're playing the Jets. They're 28th. Against the rush, so super low tier run, and I think they get ahead early and then they just run the ball like they kind of did last week.
Yeah, I think he's pretty accurately ranked. I'm not gonna say he has upside though.
Yeah, I think he definitely could outperform that rank. He could definitely find himself like a little higher up than 16 as after the week shakes out, but we'll definitely see. I think he's definitely accurate ranked. If he's on your team, you should definitely find a way to get him in your lineup. Melvin Gordon, situation to keep an eye on. He had that DUI. I think he still looks like he's still going to play for now. Yeah, we don't know what for. I think if he plays, obviously you're getting him out there. But just temper expectations. Looks like Philip Lindsay could be back, and they're playing at New England, which is a very tough matchup. But again, he's going to start to fall, I think, through the rankings if Philip Lindsay starts to get the ball a little bit, and we'll end up seeing what happens with that. But again, as of right now, he's been playing well, so you kind of got to start him if he's suiting up.
Yeah, I agree. I probably am starting him I wouldn't if he was on my team, but I got really good running backs. I'm a brag.
Well, I'm a happy Madison owner, a happy Alexander Madison owner.
Well, good for you. You need him this week.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yes. And Ronald Jones. I'm higher on Ronald Jones than you are. I think Ronald Jones is Tampa Bay's number one option right now. Like, Leonard Fournette is questionable. Even if he does play, I don't think he's that good. Shady McCoy gets some passing work, but I think Ronald Jones is RB2 flex option for sure.
Yeah, I think I have more of a high-end flex play. I just think Fournette, if he might eat some carries away. We never know if he suits up. Again, keep an eye on that. I'm not starting him, but he could potentially eat into those carries. I mean, he didn't play at all. I think he only played like a couple carries, or he didn't play at all last week, correct?
Yeah, he didn't practice.
Yeah, and again, I think looks like Chris Godwin might play this week. I think that kind of eats into some of his production. I think they're going to be throwing the ball. I think it's going to be kind of a high-scoring game, and it's going to be a shootout. And I think Chris Godwin's going to definitely eat in that production, especially they're going to be in a high-scoring game, I think, with the Packers. So I'm a little bit lower on him, but again, I think for me, I think he's accurately ranked at 21. I mean,
yeah. Accurately ranked, but yeah, 21's fair. I had him in my top 20, and you had him outside the top 20. Yeah. That's why I said.
Yeah, I just think the game kind of gets out from them, and they go to the receivers a lot, and we could even see a tight end touchdown or something weird like that. Who knows with Tom Brady? Maybe a Scotty Miller touchdown since he had a dud last week, had 0 catches.
Anybody in the bottom 20 that you want to mention for upside? Or
yeah, actually, Chase Edmonds is a player that I think has a lot of upside. Kenyon Drake, we have him ranked at 17, but honestly, this could very well be the last week he's ranked inside the top 20 for me. I mean, this is even on a really good matchup. I just think the game script doesn't go his way. They don't ever throw him the ball. Again, this is half-point PPR scoring. They just don't give him the ball. They don't pass him the ball.
No, they don't pass him the ball.
Yeah.
They give him the ball, and everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah, and so I think Chase Edmonds is a high upside flex play. I think he could definitely outperform his ranking. I think he's got a fair ranking at 25. We have consensus it's 25, but again, I think he could very well find himself as a top 15 play.
All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a touchdown or two, 6 catches, and some big plays. I think he's definitely more talented than Kenyon Drake.
All right, I like it.
Yeah,
I like Chase Edmonds too. I drafted him. I let him go for Justin Jefferson. It's on the waivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're in a 10-man league. There's a lot of players that
exactly.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, I actually dropped Deontay Johnson. Or no, I didn't. Sorry, I dropped Slayton, but he probably would be owned in any other format in any other league, but it's just when 10-man leagues are very different. So I think Chase Edmonds could very well outperform that. I think he's got really high upside. Another player that I think, let's see, who else do I think in there has? I want to mention David Johnson. I think is gonna. This is something to keep an eye out. So obviously they fired Bill O'Brien, and they said that going forward they want to get Duke Johnson involved a lot more. So he's currently not ranked. Keep an eye on that, though. I'm not saying pick up Duke Johnson. Maybe if you're in a deeper league, I'd go ahead and pick up Duke Johnson. But I just think we could potentially look to him eating out of David Johnson's already limited workload.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. He's hasn't really had any work so far this year, so
He has a safe floor for double digit touches, definitely. But he doesn't have upside. I mean, and he's definitely more of a floor play.
about Duke Johnson.
Oh, Duke
That's
Johnson,
how
sorry.
I was like, yeah, but if Duke Johnson does see work and with the already limited touches that the running backs in Houston are seeing, it's still low in RB2 flex play
Yeah.
for David Johnson.
Another player that I think could end up. I think, again, this is one of those backfields that just gives you headaches. But New England, Damian Harris. I think they like to run the ball. New England does, and Sony Michel. Obviously he's on short-term IR, and I don't think he's just not as good as Damian Harris. I think he could be a flex play going forward. We'll see what happens this week. It's a favorable matchup, but I think he has some upside.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I think if they're leading the game, it favors him. He's just gonna get a lot of second half touches if they're leading, I think, and
I think they will. I mean, you and I, as we'll get to in the end, you and I are both super high on the Patriots defense, and I think we see some turnovers, and I think the Patriots try and control the ball. Cam Newton's going to be highly ranked, pretty high ranked. Another player that to monitor going forward. This is more of a deeper league play. J.D. McKissic saw a good amount of target work with Dwayne Haskins being benched, and obviously we'd like to see that going to Antonio Gibson, but I think he might creep up if he continues to see a higher workload in the passing game.
Yeah, and somebody I wanted to mention too that we kind of already mentioned, Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, I didn't even notice we had it says Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, I didn't either, but he's gonna be outperforming his rank, I think, at 37. I can see it this week, at least for where we have him right now. I like him more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where this is kind of his first game back. New England's top 5 rushing defense against the fantasy.
That's true.
So I just think it's a tough matchup. But again, I think it's just situation to monitor. I mean, who knows? Again, Melvin Gordon could end up missing time with this DUI. I doubt it, but if he misses a week or two, it's a very good play. I doubt it though. I just think both of them are going to find themselves in that 20 to 30 range weekly going forward.
Yeah, probably.
So I think Philip Lindsay goes up and Melvin Gordon kind of goes down. But again, we'll see. They didn't use Philip Lindsay too favorably in week 1, so it's just something I'm going to monitor. I don't know if I'm going to start him this week, but yeah, I think he could outperform it. Also, Mike Boone, I think this could be a sneaky DFS play. We've seen him play well when Dalvin Cook's been out. I think he could end up seeing 10 to 12 touches this week, which I think, and he might get a red zone look or something. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores a touchdown. I don't know if I'm gonna start him this week. He's ranked 36th, but again, I think he could definitely see some work.
Yeah, maybe in a deeper league, if you didn't get Madison, I still think Boone could be productive in a lineup. But if you're in a 10-man league like us, you're probably not starting him.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. All right. Is there any other running backs you want to talk about?
No, I think we can go to the receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there are the top 40 running backs. Next up, we'll go to the receivers here. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, number one. That's such a good matchup at Dallas. They have like the worst defense. No question there. We're super high on Stefon Diggs. I have him at. I think he had 12 targets last week. I mean, they were just peppering him with throws throughout the whole game. He's a deep threat. I mean, they just use him on all levels.
He said, "Damn ball."
Yeah, I mean, they just use him on all levels. I think we both have. I mean, obviously, all these top guys are absolute must plays. We're predicting a pretty high scoring game in mini with the Atlanta Falcons versus the Vikings game. Calvin Ridley is going to be second. Adam Thielen's fourth. I have Calvin Ridley too. I believe you have Adam Thielen too.
Yep, I do. I think Thielen's gonna. He's Kirk's guy. He'll get a score, maybe two. I think 100 yards from him against Atlanta's defense.
Yeah,
I like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I don't think you probably don't have both of those guys on your team. Chances are, if you do, you're probably thin at running back. But yeah, I mean, again, you're obviously must starts. Devontae Adams looks like he's going to suit up this week. He's coming back against Tampa Bay. I think that's going to favor the passing offense more so than the rushing offense. Tampa Bay's got a pretty good rushing defense.
Yeah, and Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers just go to work.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams are just absolute monsters. Chris Godwin's coming back. I'm a little higher than you are on Chris Godwin. I believe I have Chris Godwin at 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's just the injury.
Yeah, he practiced on Wednesday. If he practices on Thursday and Friday, when he's played, he has been the favorite target of Tom Brady, and I also think Mike Evans wasn't seeing the field a whole lot when they were playing on Thursday. Again, they had a little bit more time to rest because they did play on Thursday, but he wasn't seeing the field a whole lot, and I think he's very touchdown dependent, and again, he's very dependable on getting those touchdowns.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Super dependable, but I think Chris Godwin, potentially could have I think he has a safer floor, and I just like him a little bit more than Mike Evans. I think he gets more targets.
I don't, but that's why he's ranked higher.
Yeah, so Jake's a lot higher. I believe you have Mike Evans at
7.
Yeah, 7. I have Chris Godwin at 7. So you can't go wrong with either of them though. Chris Godwin has been the favorite target of Tom Brady when he's been on the field. So, and they're both listed as questionable. I both think they do suit up though. But again, we still haven't seen them both fully healthy yet. So a little bummer. Cooper Kupp, you're a little bit higher than I am, but I don't think you can go wrong. He's a great play. Obvious must start. Robbie Anderson, man. Let's talk just Robbie Anderson, man. How about Robbie Anderson from
he's
potentially a waiver wire pick to absolute must start every single week at this point?
See, I grabbed him off the waivers a few years back. He had a real good thing going with Darnold. And then he just fell off, and I forgot about him. And then new signing for Teddy Bridgewater, and it seems like they got a connection. And it's instantly put him into a start. Yeah,
and I think the most important thing is it's not – Robbie Anderson is now not just a deep threat. They're using him on all levels. He's seeing double-digit targets. He's ranked – he's our 13th ranked receiver. And I think he's where you drafted him. If you did, you might have picked him up off the waivers. That's just such an awesome play for you. A.J. Brown, consensus 14th. He looked great coming back, and he's got a great matchup against Houston. Obviously, you drafted him probably pretty high, and I'm personally an A.J. Brown owner. I'm excited to have him back. Looking good. He's a big, big target for Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill looks great.
Yeah, he's Tannehill's one of his favorite targets. So, and he's the number one, clear-cut number one receiver on the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without a doubt there. Robert Woods. We have there's 4 guys with a tied consensus ranking of 16. Robert Woods, I believe I'm a little high on Robert Woods here. I've got Robert Woods. I think I have him at 13 or 14, but I think it's a good ranking. And you're starting Robert Woods. He's performed very well this year. He's a part of a high-powered offense. They've got 2 must-start wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are probably starting every week for you if you've got one of those guys. Then next is Scary Terry McLaurin with Kyle Allen supposed to start, and that is why he is where he is, because I am high on him.
Yeah, I've got him at 18.
I got 14.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lower on him. I think. Yeah, so I think he's accurately ranked at 16. I think both Devontae Parker and Jamison Crowder should be over him. I just want to wait. I'm not saying you shouldn't sit him, obviously, in pretty much all formats, but I just think with Kyle Allen, you're not really sure. I just think I'm going to wait a week.
I'm sure with Kyle Allen, it was just, I think it was terrible matchup against the Rams. It's just, I think that's the lowest we see from McLaurin all year.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, it's just, yeah, we'll see. It
Don't
very
be
well could be. You're probably right. I mean, he had four fantasy points, 4.1 half-point PPR fantasy points, so you're probably
Aaron
right.
Donald, they had so many sacks. It was a bad game for them.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Devontae Parker against the Jets, I think he's such a safe play. You got to start him every single week.
He's safe for sure.
Yeah. He only had two catches last week for 50-some yards and a touchdown. They just got out ahead, and he did not really play much after they got ahead again. He's been injury prone in his past. Obviously, he's played through the injuries as of late, which has been great. But I just think they're being cautious. So starting him, Jamison Crowder. I've got Jamison Crowder at 13 or 14. I think Jamison Crowder at this point, I mean, he's just a target monster. Had 100 yards in every single game and had 2 touchdowns out of the 3 games he's played. And I think he'll continue to creep up higher if he continues to put up these numbers. I mean, he'll definitely jump up, and he could very well find himself as top 12 plays going forward for me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see him with Flacco one more week, and then he might even be top 10.
Yeah, he's played great. CeeDee Lamb, obviously, he was the favorite target in Dallas for both Dak and Andy Dalton last week, but I'm going to go and say, as an Amari Cooper owner, this is what Amari Cooper does. He goes out, he has a monster game, and then he just disappears the next game. It's just what he does. So I think Amari Cooper, you could expect him to be back. He'll still be the number 1 target in that offense going forward, but, I mean, yeah, that's who Amari Cooper is. That's what he does. He has a monster game. He disappears, and then he'll come back. He's done it on the Raiders. He's done it on Dallas. I mean, how about this? Last year, against Green Bay, had 14 targets week 5 for 11 catches, 226 yards, and a touchdown. Week 6 against the Jets, 2 targets for 1 catch and 3 yards.
Yeah.
So that's just what he does. And then the next game he had 106 yards receiving. So it's literally what Amari Cooper does. I think he comes back. But CeeDee Lamb, man, he's been great so far. And I think he's still going to be a legit WR2 with Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's one of the better rookie wide receivers out of this draft class, which is really deep. And yeah, play him.
Yeah, Will Fuller again has actually performed pretty well when he's healthy, and it looks like he's healthy again this week. Again, that could change at any moment, but I think at this point, if you're in a, I mean, if he's suiting up, you should probably figure out a way to play him. I think that can be a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah, I agree. He's Deshaun Watson. They've got a lot of chemistry. He gets open. It could be a very high scoring game.
Yeah, it could be.
Right.
I mean, Tennessee does have a great defense. I mean, we all saw at primetime. Jadeveon Clowney was a great signing for him. He was an absolute monster for him. But again, I think, yeah, it's Deshaun Watson. He'll find a way to get Will Fuller the ball. Justin Jefferson, ranked 21. People were super, super high on him going into last week, and then kind of had a dud of a game against Seattle, and Seattle obviously has a poor defense, but I think we see a bounce back game from him, and I think he can definitely outperform that 21. I mean, obviously we've seen in the past him have monster games.
Yeah, Atlanta also has a porous defense, so favorable bounce back week candidate. I know you probably grabbed him off the waiver wires. We're so excited to start him if you didn't draft him. And even if you did draft him, he was probably on your bench, and you're so excited to start him. And he didn't really do that good. Hopefully you won, but if you didn't, I'd consider starting him again this week.
Yeah.
Up is just tremendous. He's shown he can get 100 yards receiving.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're still super high on him here. He was listed in a trade target for week 5. If you saw that, we're still super high on him. We think we see a bounce back game. DJ Chark is 22 again. Keep an eye on that. He's questionable. He did not practice on Wednesday. Friday again is the big one. But again, if he's a player that suits up, Detroit has a porous defense, and we're pretty high on Gardner Minshew. But obviously, a player like Laviska Shenault right now, who is ranked as if DJ Chark is playing, will bump up in rankings if DJ Chark is out. But DJ Chark just has such high upside.
Yeah. Minshew definitely looks for him towards the end zone. They run plays for him towards the end zone, so he gets touchdowns.
Yeah.
And very high upside when you get touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, another player with high upside, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Again, he's just a really high upside play, but you just you don't know what you're going to get with him all the time. But again, I think you should find a way to roll him out there probably. He's ranked 25, which I think is a really fair ranking for him, but he's a very high upside play. Just it could, not be so good. I mean, Philly does have a decent defense. Darius Slay's over there, but he's just such a good player. They're such an explosive team that they could pop off at any point.
Agreed. He's high up in the rankings because of his upside. He's also favorite receiver, not target. Mark Andrews is Lamar Jackson's favorite target.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the receiver that they try to get the ball to and force those big plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Odell Beckham ranked all the way down there at 24. It's a tough matchup going on the road to Pittsburgh. They're one of the best defenses in the league. I think they just try and grind out the game, kind of see what we saw last week against the Colts. Just pound the ball again. That's what they do. And on these tough defenses, they just are super conservative with Baker Mayfield. And again, week 5, Odell Beckham was listed as a player to trade away after that week 4 explosion, and I still am on that bandwagon of if you trade Odell. I mean, I think he's going to be a low end WR2. I mean, I look at all the names above him. He's probably rarely going to be ranked above 19 or 18 for me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would trade for, if you can, anybody above him right now. But anyone below him, I think, is just about even.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about Julio Jones. Obviously, Julio Jones is ranked down all the way at 27th. I think that's fair. Keep an eye. He did not practice. He just has, again, he could go out there and have 14 targets, 11 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very well. But he could also, on the flip side, could go out there and have, get you 2 points. So I think if he suits up, you play him probably. Again, Falcons had 4 positive tests today, so that's definitely a situation to monitor going forward. But it actually could play in his favor if the game gets pushed back. I mean, best case scenario for Julio Jones, game gets pushed back to Tuesday, and he gets 2 extra days of rest.
Yeah, I guess that would be the best case for him, and he'd probably move up on the rankings because of that. But if that is the case, you probably are safer playing somebody else just because of the Tuesday game, and you don't even know that might get canceled. So
yeah,
just
something
to monitor.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough situation. I mean I'm sitting here with Todd Gurley and Alexander Madison ready to roll them out and have a good week. Both of them, super high on both of them, but I mean there's a lot of Falcons players. Calvin Ridley, Alexander Madison, Todd Gurley. I mean there's those
Adam Thielen.
Those players are getting started every single week. So that's going to be tough if they don't play. But I think that I hope it does. But again, like we always say every week, you got to be prepared for the absolute worst. I mean.
Yeah, so this is Thursday we're talking. Keep posted. And, yeah, if you really need them to start, keep them in there for them upside. But you know what? You might just get 0 points when it comes down to it. But you were playing them for the upside anyway, so the floor wasn't going to do it for you. That's how I feel about those guys.
Yeah.
Monitor that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just any Vikings, any Falcons.
Definitely. Christian Kirk found himself on our waiver ad. He had a great game last week, and they played Dallas. And I think if you're gonna play Christian Kirk, this is the week to do it. They played Dallas. This is a great matchup.
I agree.
I think he could. He's definitely outperform that 30 rank.
Yeah, he could be a very sneaky DFS play.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Dallas is just not good.
No, they're not.
Against the Pats, and it's just
they're not.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to see. I think Arizona has 2 plays at receivers this week.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, Laviska Shenault, keep an eye on the DJ Chark situation. His target share has increased every single week. So, especially if DJ Chark is out, I definitely would want to roll out Laviska Shenault in any PPR format. I'd feel pretty good about him being in my lineup as a flex play. I think he'll have a really safe floor going forward.
Another name I want to mention is John Brown. I think he could outperform his ranking.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing.
In a shootout game, especially if he plays, he's a deep threat. Get those yards real quick, and I could see him having a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think he does as well. We got Chase Claypool down there at 40. He had a big game. Deontay Johnson looks like he's going to play. Obviously, Deontay Johnson got hurt in it was like the first drive. This is the first quarter. I don't think you can expect the same thing. He's down there at 40. He's like a DFS play,
Yeah, and he certainly was. Yes, last week. I hope you are one of those guys who had the minutes for that one.
Yeah. I mean, probably such a low percentage. Brandon Cooks, he's been getting a higher target share. I think he's, he's accurately ranked for me, 32.
Yeah, I agree. He showed up last week. Other than that, I haven't seen him.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope it continues. I'm banking on the coaching change to have a positive impact on his production.
Yeah, I just think overall, just pure morale, I'm sure, like how much worse could it get? I'm sure it's going to get a little bit better.
Yeah. Agree.
I think, yeah, just purely morale. Even if he's not a better coach at all, purely morale, they'll play a little bit better. So, is there anyone else you want to talk about?
No, not particularly. Just yeah, check those rankings, play accordingly.
Yeah, and this is a weird year. Injuries, COVID-19. So let's get into these tight end rankings. Probably going to be number 1 and 2 every single week. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and honestly top 3 every single week. I actually had Jonnu Smith at number 3, but it's really a toss-up. Travis Kelce number 1, George Kittle number 2, Mark Andrews number 3. This has been a great year for tight ends. There's been a lot of tight ends that you can play, and it's finally a good year. 4 or 5. At least 3 of our tight ends in our top 10 this week you probably picked up off of waivers, or 4 of them. Honestly, Jonnu Smith, Mike Gesicki, Jimmy Graham, and Robert Tonyan.
There's 2 of those tight ends currently on our waiver wire right now. So, yeah, it's deep for tight ends, and a lot of guys lower down on our list are getting played, such as Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper every week, just because of production.
So I'll say,
and
I'll say this. Obviously, Jonnu Smith owners, you're super happy with his production. Jimmy Graham has been coming a pretty safe play at tight end. I think Nick Foles, they're looking to him. They play Carolina, which is a defense that you can put up points on. And then Robert Tonyan, we're pretty high on him. He definitely could slip next week, but this is a big week for him for me. Like, going forward, I need this week. I need to see some production out of him.
This is a crucial week. We're going to see if, with Devontae Adams coming back, if he can stay relevant in the passing game. And, I'm starting him this week, taking that risk. And rolling the dice on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, such a high upside play. I had the 3 touchdowns last week. Zach Ertz is ranked number 9, but I'm going to be honest. I think he's just going to tumble. He has not played well. I think, Dallas Goedert went down, and we thought he was going to be better, but it just has not translated to that.
No, it looks like he's getting even more focused on, because it's with 2 tight ends that are relevant in the passing game. It's hard to focus on.
Yeah,
but with one, it's much easier.
Yeah, it does look like we get Alshon Jeffries. We potentially could see Alshon Jeffries and Deshaun Jackson suit up this week. But, yeah, it's just something to monitor. It's a tough matchup versus Baltimore.
And so far, we haven't seen it from Zach Ertz. So
yeah, Noah Fant, I'm a little higher than him you. I think if he suits up, honestly, I think he's probably the best play out of any Broncos offensive player. I'd feel much better about starting him if he's healthy than the running backs, honestly. I think he'll be the biggest part of the offense, or the most important part against that New England defense.
New England's really shut down tight ends this year. Darren Waller had nothing against them, and it's just, if he gets focused, it just depends who they focus on.
Yeah,
New England tries to take out one player every game, and that player does not get the ball, and it just depends who they choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's going to be Judy or if it's going to be Fant.
See, T.J. Hawkinson, he's had a pretty nice season so far. I think his work does continue to drop a little bit with Kenny G coming back, but I think he's still a pretty safe play. I think he's accurately ranked at 11 there.
Yeah.
Eric Ebron, you're a little higher on him than I am. I think Tyler Higbee is going to have a big game. I really like Tyler Higbee this week. I think he outperforms that number 13 spot. I'm also pretty high on Hayden Hurst. I have him all the way up at 8. I think he also outperforms that rank. He's been disappointing, but
I'm just a little worried. Gerald Everett got some work last week. I don't know if that takes away from Higbee's production or not, or value, but something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's a really deep class of tight ends.
Offense too. That's a great offense. So 2 tight ends might even be plays from that offense.
Yeah.
Or streaming options.
Yeah. And again, I think he has a fair ranking. I think he can outperform it though. Austin Hooper, again, I'm if you're in a 16 team league, but again, I think you could probably do better. But yeah, these are the tight ends. Mike Gesicki is all the way up at 5. I mean, he's been great so far, and they'll play the Jets.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. I think Hooper could rise as the season goes on, and him and Mayfield get a little thing going. But as of right now, I still don't really want to start Austin Hooper if I can avoid it.
No. I would, again, if he's on your team, I'd hang on to him. But yeah, at Pittsburgh is such a tough matchup.
Yeah, I drafted him in my other league. I grabbed Jimmy Graham off the waivers, and I'm starting Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. I also picked up Jimmy Graham in another league. I really like Jimmy Graham. He's looking like he has a good connection with Nick Foles. He's looking for him in the end zone, and who knows? This could be a better year for Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, it's looking like it so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the top 15 tight ends, and last but not least, let's get into the kicker and the defense ranks. We'll go through these pretty quickly. Ravens defense, obviously, you're probably starting them most weeks. Again, Patriots defense, you can expect some points. I mean, maybe not expect some points, but expect definitely some turnovers from all of these teams. The Dolphins were our number one streaming defense. They were going in, I don't know what it is now, I can check. Going into this week, I'll check currently. The Dolphins are still only rostered in 24.9% of NFL leagues. So, go out and chances are they're out there on your waiver wire. I'd go pick them up. I mean, they're ranked number 5 for us, so we're super high on them.
Yeah, Jets are not good. I like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Will actually picked them up last week to stream, and he gets to hang on to them for another week against the Jets. Lucky.
I mean, I got 12 points from him last week, and I think I'm definitely expecting double digits from him again this week. We'll see some sacks and some turnovers. Steelers, they're obviously a great defense. You're starting them every week. Washington football team, they have a great matchup. Daniel Jones is very turnover prone.
Yep, that's who I picked up to stream this week.
Yeah, great play. They have a great pass rush. I definitely think we could probably see a strip sack and a fumble out of Daniel Jones. Probably an interception. Definitely some sacks, though.
Yeah, I'm going to hope so. I just hope it's not Daniel Jones' big week, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think football team's a good play this week.
Yeah, definitely. When we have Bears and Panthers ranked back-to-back, I think the Bears just constantly find themselves in these low-scoring grinders.
They're never in a really high-scoring game.
Yeah.
They're not. They usually don't give up more than 20 points.
No, and I think Nick Foles, again, he makes some mistakes. Carolina is a sneaky good passing defense, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see turnover from him because their rushing offense isn't that great. It's not that efficient so far.
Yeah, and Nick Foles can make some mistakes. The Bears, you probably drafted them as your defense and haven't dropped them yet, so you're starting them. The Giants, I seen somebody in our league is streaming the Giants this week at Washington. They saw Washington last week against the Rams and think the Giants could maybe do half as good, and I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a good play. I had him a little higher. I think I had him at 10. I think it's a good play. Washington, they can turn the ball over. I think Kyle Allen, you can expect to see that. I mean, I think you expect to see that. I mean, yeah. They just haven't. Let's see. How many points did they score? Yeah, they scored. I mean, I don't know. I think you just see a turnover too, and I think you can probably see Kyle Allen make some mistakes. I mean, we saw it last year on Carolina. He holds on to the ball a little too long, and we'll get some sacks out of there. It's kind of a tough week for defense if you don't have those top guys. Broncos at New England. Yeah, it's tough. I think the Bengals might be a sneaky play. I think the Colts offense has looked really bad, but also Philly's not Philly. Sorry, the Colts defense has looked great. So again, I think these top 12 are all pretty accurate there. Chances are you definitely could be playing someone outside. Those are the kicker rankings. Rodrigo Blankenship, number 1. Let's go, baby. You probably picked him up off waivers. He's been great. Thanks to the bad play of the Colts.
Yeah, and he plays in a dome, so real easy kicking conditions. And yeah, Colts like to kick the field goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are all of the rankings, folks. We hope you enjoyed. Hope that kind of helped your team. If you have any questions, make sure to comment on any of the videos. We uploaded a show the other 2 days ago, kind of doing a preview. But yeah, make sure you comment if you have any questions, any trade questions, any lineup questions, anything like that. Give me a follow on Instagram. My name is Will, again, at MPLS_outdoors. Follow the main page at Across the Plane below on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify. Make sure you listen to all of our episodes. Those usually upload every Wednesday. We cover all sports across the plane on that. We got at least two fantasy shows for you a week, so lots of content. Make sure you interact with us, give us follows, make sure you subscribe, ask us any questions you got.
Yeah, what he said, I don't really got anything else to plug. That's kind of what I'm doing too. Hit that subscribe button, and yeah, hope you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope you have a good week, folks, as we always have stressed.
Get that win.
Hope you get the win. Have a backup plan for everything. Falcons-Vikings games is the one to monitor. Some injuries to monitor. But overall, hope you've had a good season. Hope you get a win. And we'll get back to you. Next show should be on Tuesday. Peace.